Where would the movies be without the theaters? The Drexel Theatre in Bexley, Ohio has been the home for independent films for over 20 years. Let's take a look at the Drexel.
I was a pre-law student at Ohio University way back and kept seeing all these signs on campus for interesting films. So I started going to these unusual movies, French films, historic American films, classics, films, you know, Godard, Truffaut. And that was my first introduction to films outside of the Hollywood mainstream. And although when I was a kid, I always loved, you know, I spent every Saturday afternoon, you know, at the triple feature. Talked my way into a job at the Columbus Museum of Art as their sort of film programmer. Took a fledgling film series that they had started and made it into a series that was selling out weekly on special nights. And from there I went to the Columbus Association for the Performing Arts, was involved with Kappa, the Ohio Theater movie series, which was one of the most attended and best classic movie series in the country. That led me to thinking about Columbus didn't have an art theater. It didn't have a theater that showed classic Hollywood movies and foreign films and independent films year-round. The Drexel Theatre was in my neighborhood or close, and drove by it every day on the way to work, and I finally stopped by and always loved this theater, and talked to the owner. His name was Jerry Knight, and we made a deal for me to take over the business and run the Drexel. And so I owned and operated the Drexel for 29 and a half years. In March 2010, I sold the business to the Friends of the Drexel Incorporated, which is a non-profit community organization to continue and keep the Drexel Theatre one of the jewels of Columbus and one of the most important art theaters in the country. They're dedicated to that. I'm involved in working as the Director of Operations for the theater. But the Friends of the Drexel put on back in 2010 was a tribute to Josh Radnor, star of the television CBS show How I Met Your Mother, who grew up in Bexley and had just made his first feature film, which was called Happy Thank You, More Please, which had just won the Audience Award for feature films at the Sundance Film Festival. So we were able to get Josh to bring his movie to Columbus, to premiere it here, and to have a gala benefit event with a huge after party, and Josh spoke to the audience, and it was just a fabulous event. You know, Josh wanted to come back and support his hometown theater. Really, the Drexel Theatre was the theater he grew up going to. He came to, when he was a young boy, he came to see Adventures of Robin Hood with Errol Flynn, and these were the films that inspired him to go into both acting and filmmaking.
This is where I fell in love with movies. And have all these people from my life. My 8th grade English teacher's here. I got 2 aunts here. People I went to, kindergarten with. It's pretty amazing.
We very much want to reach out and do show films by local filmmakers, regional filmmakers, and the best in independent cinema that we can find. Well, the Drexel Theatre is very much, now that it's being operated by the Friends of the Drexel and Kappa, is a mission-driven community historic movie theater that will, has both a mission in showing important films that normally wouldn't come to Columbus, showing films and programs that celebrate the history of movies and filmmaking from all over the world, and also educational things about film, both for adults and children. We're, looking at trying to bring in some of the best films we can find from all over the world, and we're trying to reach out and let more people know about that there's more to cinema and filmmaking than just the Hollywood blockbusters. The one-on-one with patrons who come and support this theater and being part of the Drexel, be part of the whole experience of keeping this part of our history alive, because we've lost a lot of our history in Columbus. And at one point Columbus had over 40 or 50 neighborhood theaters, and now they're down to 3. And if we don't support these places, they'll be gone, and they won't come back. So that that's very important to me, and it's always that, and when the lights go down, to me, is the magic hour, when that instant before the movie hits the screen where you just don't know what it's going to be like, and you have all this anticipation. That's very special.